What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. We've got the Royals series to talk about, which luckily the Mets won. It was kind of crazy how they did, but they won it. A little bit of All-Star Game talk, a little bit of Jonah Tong talk, a little bit of media marvels, and a little bit of the MLB draft. So make sure you stick around to the end of the episode to hear everything you need before the All-Star break happens for you guys. Remember to follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel if you have not yet done so. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, how are we feeling? I've been locked into the MLB draft tonight. The game ended hours and hours ago. It feels like a lifetime ago that the Mets lost Game 3 of the series against the Royals. How are we feeling on this late Sunday night?
I feel wonderful. Coming into this week, this little mini road trip before the break, I think I told you guys 3-3 would make me feel pretty fine. And you win one series, you lose one series, you go 3-3 for a week on the road. Most of these guys have the night off. A lot of these guys are actually heading to Atlanta for the All-Star game, but you walk out of the first half still feeling like you're one of the better teams in the National League. I think you can hang your hats on the fact that you are one of the better teams in the National League, despite patchworking this whole thing together for like 6 weeks now. We were a little bit pissy and moody last episode. Yeah. We put our hand up and admit that one, but that was a shitty doubleheader the Mets had to play. So we're sorry you guys had to get our temper tantrum, because that one rarely recorded like 25 seconds after the game ended. That was the fastest end of game to beginning of podcast I think we've had all season. So there were no moments for cooling down. There was no activity in between. But this series was a good palate cleanser because you had a little bit of everything. Like Friday night, you have the dramatic, really fun comeback. Saturday, you have a really, really well-pitched game. And then Sunday, even though you lost, we have the return of Manaea and, of course, the return of Kodai Senga on Friday. So I think every single game this series, you did have something you could feel good about. I think that the team has a lot of things they can feel good about, again, heading into the break.
Yeah, and I think, like, any concerns, any worries, I think, that are still with this team, it does still come down to the offense, weirdly enough, because that's the thing the pitching's been fine. It was fine this series. Pitched really well against the Kansas City Royals. Not the best lineup by any means, maybe one of the worst, but they still got the job done on the pitching side. Just need to do more hitting. And it was nice to see Mark Vientos swinging the bat better. I'm still not ready to say he's back. I'm not in that zone just yet, but he is swinging the bat better. Got a couple hits in Game 3, had the big hit in Game 1, the bases clearing double. That's stuff I think even just for the mental side of Mark Vientos, who does seem to be a little bit of a head case at times, whether or not that's good or bad, we'll let that be determined. But I think just for the mental side of him, to see those hits fall, to get those big hits in those moments, that's a good sign for Mark Vientos.
I think it's like night and day how much better he did look in this series, like how much more confident he did seem to be. I thought it was a little bit crazy even moving up to the 2 spot on Sunday. But
2 hits?
2 hits. I mean, one, I don't know if that was a hit. It was very generous. It was a very generous hit. Jack Haglione doing a pirouette in the outfield and then getting the ball in. And then should have had Mark Vientos throwing out third base. He tried to stretch for a triple, and then that ball got dropped as well. Comedy of errors by the Royals. But you did feel at the end of that Orioles series that Vientos was at least something good was happening. And Vientos hit rock bottom, I would say, in that game on Friday night before the triple happened. There was the amazing video that went viral, went way past Mets Twitter, went nationally viral. I sent it to you. And someone who's really great and active in the Mets community, lots of good edits. I got to find it right now. Here it comes. Scrolling through our DMs. Really good podcasting here. Such good podcasting
you got this.
Here. Captain at El Troll Season.
Troll. Legend. Love that guy.
Yeah, El Troll Season. I think he might have changed his profile picture recently, so I might have forgot the ad. But so someone in the crowd was screaming at Mets fans. There were a lot of Mets fans at KC. There's a lot of Mets fans at every road series we play at, screaming at Mark Vientos. Swing the bat. Swing the bat.
You can't hit the ball if you don't swing.
That's 2-2.
It got so serious and so loud and so like audible that Vientos stepped out in the middle of one of these taunts.
Bases are loaded. Estevez set and time called. Vientos extends the hand up to get Jim Wolf's attention. Mark tonight.
And then he came back in the box against Carlos Estevez, and then that is when he got the big hit on the next pitch, got the base clearing double, and gave the Mets the lead. So I think that a guy like Mark Vientos, I mentioned that doubleheader, when Jesse Winker gets hurt and you're going through a slump, a prolonged slump that Mark Vientos is going through, just that like shock, that surprise, that adrenaline filling your body can definitely help you get out of that. And I did see that a little bit in the games on Thursday. But then something like this, where the at-bat before this base clearing one, or 2 at-bats before that base clearing double, he strikes out with the bases loaded, and he slams his bat on home plate to the point where he fucking shattered it. I'm like, okay, that's the guy that looks broken. Ronnie was basically saying you can't act like that. He was giving him the body language talk on air. And then he gets the big hit. So we've said a lot of times in this podcast, I think me more specifically, that I think Mark Vientos is kind of the most important player in this team for the second half because he's not going anywhere. He has no options and just doesn't have much trade value at the moment. So he's going to get a lot of opportunities. So with opportunities, he has to be productive. hopefully this is a step in that direction of being productive.
Yeah, I don't know what happens to Carlos Estevez when he faces the Mets, but he gets like that 1,000-mile stare PTSD look where it's like he's got to be like, again, this is happening to me? I can't believe I get this team out. He blew game 1. He technically blew game 3 as well, which is also crazy. The Francisco Lindor Grand Slam. It's like Groundhog's Day all over and over again for this guy. But Vientos getting that hit was huge, like you mentioned, just from the mental side of things, which I do think is a big part of Mark Vientos' game. When you slam a bat like that, that's insane. And I think Ronnie was right. I do love seeing emotion, but there is a time and place and an appropriate time for it. Mark Vientos, who, for lack of a better term, has been stinking it up all year. You can't like throw a hissy fit when you continue to be doing the same thing you've been doing. It's not like you came up in this big spot like we've seen Pete Alonso snap bats on his knee and snap him on his head and stuff like that.
This game.
Well, yeah, of course. But I'm saying, like, Pete Alonso has a little bit more pressure. I feel like Vientos is more mad at himself, I felt like, rather than like the situation. But he came up big. The one thing I will say, and I've been looking at more and more Vientos swings, 2 things I've noticed, and I really hope that he does make an adjustment with. 1, I think a big reason why he's been so late and there's been so little pull with power in his swing this year is that 1, of course, his bat speed's down. But 2, I think a reason that could be is because his foot is getting down so insanely late when he's getting ready to hit. His foot is almost barely touching the ground when he gets ready to start his swing. It was pretty late last year as well, but it felt like the leg kick was bigger and it felt like the foot was getting down earlier. And I think that is something that could be fucking with Vientos' swing, could be fucking with his swing timing, and just kind of keeping him a little bit more off balance and having to guess a little bit more, which is something that we've seen because his swing and his body is not in full motion. Maybe people can look into that more, but over this weekend, I felt like the swings were better, and a big reason was that foot was getting down earlier. Now, that being said, he was awesome. He was awesome in this game. Big hit for us. Huge shout out to Mark Vientos. Hopefully, he continues to play well, and I agree with you, James. He probably is the most important, least important player on this entire team.
He's the most important player, I think, away from the clear, obvious top-tier most important players. He's not more important than Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, Brandon Nimmo. But of the guys who we don't know what we're going to get the rest of the way, he strikes me as the one that can change the fortunes of this team the most, either positively or negatively.
Well, just even think about it from the context of last year. The Mark Vientos we're seeing right now has been the Mark Vientos we had known prior to 2024. He became a different player last year, and look at what it did for this team's offense. I can only imagine what it would do to this team's offense this year.
Right, and the Ron went on a little bit more of a diatribe on that moment, just being like, hey, like, you know how good of a hitter you are because you've gotten to this level. Ronnie was like, you've been the best hitter on your team since you were 10 years old. Like, he gave a comment like that. And then he was like, you kind of have to understand that you have to wash away everything that happened this year. Like, your stats are never going to look good this season. You have to get rid of that, like, assumption, like, hoping that happens. So what you have to do is say from this moment on, and Ronnie was foregoing the weekend. Ronnie was like from July 15th to the end of the year, he skipped the whole 3-day series before that big hit late in the game. He was like, I'm going to be the hitter I know I can be. And you have to take that confidence. Like, when you slam a bat like that, that shows a severe lack of confidence in yourself. Like, that is that, like, rage bubbling over. Like, you don't do that when you know you are that hitter. Like, that's the juxtaposition of what we always see from Francisco Lindor when he goes through his month-long cold stretches every single season. And he goes to the media, he talks about how he knows he's better, so he's fine. He's like, I'll get it tomorrow. No big deal. Some people get frustrated with that. We love that approach. I think it's great, especially how much he does that with the media, how much he takes the heat off the rest of his teammates. But that's what Vientos has to do. So, but maybe Vientos just isn't that mature yet. He's still a young player. He still doesn't have that strong of a foothold in the league. So he just probably actually needs a few things to go right, which is why I loved that triple in the game on Sunday. Because a guy like Vientos, when some shit happens like that, you're like, oh, nice. Like, one fell in my direction. Like, that can keep carrying over and carrying over and carrying over. He did get another hit later in this game. That was the rest of it. But you just hope that there's some kind of momentum that can be taken from that.
Yes. Also, another big story from game 1. Maybe the biggest, probably, Kodai Senga making his return. He looked pretty good. I mean, he was doing the same thing that he always does, which is guys get on base, guys stay on base. They don't end up scoring. He only pitched 4 innings, struck out 4, which I don't remember what the over-under was specifically for this game, but I have a feeling you got the under because he did only throw, 67 pitches or something like that?
Yeah, which was basically exactly what we predicted. I thought he'd get one more strikeout, and he did have a couple other 2-strike counts. He also did that thing where he was doing a lot, where he just fell behind a lot and had to play catch-up. His cutter was big for him in that. And it was another weird thing where he didn't really allow much solid contact, but there just was trouble. There were walks. Again, like, it definitely seemed like a guy who only made one rehab assignment and missed a month, which I think is fine. I think that the Royals are a good team to possibly have to do that against. But they also, they were spitting on a few more of the fork balls than I've come to expect. Like, he also kept trying to spot that sweeper and slider. He was struggling to do that as well. Like,
I got
I think
a hot take about the forkball, why they don't swing at it.
Why?
I think because the Royals are such bad hitters. Like, they're like not even like aggressive. They're just like,
whatever.
I don't know about that pitch. We're like a good hitter's like, oh, fuck, here's my pitch. Oh, shit, there's the forkball. Never mind. Like, is that a crazy take?
That might be a crazy take. I also did like that he was, especially against the right-handed batters, like it was very different against the lefties. That's where he kind of struggled a little bit, but he was just aggressive. He kept going after them, throwing strikes. Didn't have 1 3-ball count against a right-handed batter in this game, despite the 2 walks in the 4 innings. And again, a lot of those deep counts, but this team feels a lot better with Kodai Senga back. We're going to talk about Sean Manaea again as we move on in the series, but now having the guys there who were supposed to be there the whole time in Manaea, Senga, Peterson, Montas, and Holmes, like those being the 5 guys, it's like, oh, fuck yeah, this is a pretty good rotation.
Yeah, you can take a deep breath, and it feels like you're like relaxing. It's very, very much a different feel seeing those guys on the mound than, I don't know, Justin Hageman and Brandon Waddell.
The way to buy, sell, or trade your cards is Arena Club. It is the top marketplace in the biz to get that done. And Kratz, we love the slab pack situation because rolling through a ton of cards, physically opening them, finding all kinds of commons that end up folded or in the garbage is old news. Why not get a slab pack and get a chance at a card worth thousands of dollars?
I was a common card. It's okay if you don't get me in your slab pack because you put as little as $25 for a slab pack, and you could pull out something that's worth thousands of dollars. And it's a keepsake that you get to wait, you know what? It might be worth this much today, but I get to watch the value grow.
And right now you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use the code FAL. That's 20% off your first card purchase or slab pack at arenaclub.com/FAL. Code FAL.
Yeah, and also at the same time, as we've talked now glowingly about this game and this series looking back, when we were in the top of the 8th inning on Friday night, I felt like shit. It felt
terrible.
Especially after that Angel Zerpa inning, that his first inning in the 6th, when he just made mincemeat of Juan Soto and Pete Alonso back-to-back. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I know at that time we were still winning 1-0, but you knew that was a moment where it's like, I don't think the bullpen, the conditions in right now holds any offense 0 runs the rest of the game. And they didn't. Alex Carrillo came out for second inning, gave an RBI, and then Huascar Brosman threw one of the fattest fastballs I've ever seen to Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. loves a first pitch fastball as much as the next player, the next superstar.
Not the Mets.
And he hit one 440 feet, and I was like, damn, it's going to be another game we lose. And if we lose this game after that doubleheader, it's like, that's not a very good feeling. But then, like we've talked about a lot with this team, the thing that will take this team as far as they can ever go, hopefully, if they do go to the places, it has to be the top of the order. It has to be. And that was Nimmo, it was Lindor, and it was Soto, and that set the table for Vientos to get that big hit. And then Lindor and Soto putting on the insurance later, which was very nice as well.
Yeah, super nice. And then, of course, game 2, moving on, because after they win game 1, game 2, Dominican Lance Lynn, Frankie Montas, Frankie 5 innings, Frankie fastballs, just doing his thing again, just throwing a lot of fastballs, doing his stuff.
Frankie might be listening because he mixed it up a lot more in the start. There were a lot more splitters from Frankie. The splitter was really, really good against the left-handed batters as well. He still wasn't missing many bats, but that is kind of a version of Frankie Montas we've seen over the last few years. But still just being a guy that he moves the ball around the zone in a really good way, and he does bear down you with that fastball. I talked about it when we acquired him in the offseason. Something the Brewers did with Frankie last year was they reversed the way that he pitches because his four-seam fastball became a pitch that he could use late in counts because that's so much velocity. And he stuck with that with the Mets. And again, similar to I talked about with Kodai, he just went after hitters. This Royals lineup is not good. We're not putting guys on base for free. So here you go. Fastball, cutter, sinker, plenty of splitters. They were chasing them a lot, especially with two strikes. They were like, just hit them. If he fell behind the count, that's when Frankie fastball came out. And again, it was using those fastballs when he knew he had the opportunity to late in counts. That was sneaking up on hitters. I think he's just solid. I think he's good. This is the Frankie Montas I expected coming into the year. Like, I think similar to you, like, it just seems like a guy who can pitch every 5th day and you're not really going to fret about.
He's Luis Severino of last year. That's it. He's going to go out there, pitch 5-6 innings, give up 2-3 runs, and you're going to be like, all right, we're very much in this ball game. Let's hit.
I have another take for you about something from last year.
Okay, hit me.
So this game, it was Frankie Montas. He handed the ball to Reed Garrett, and Reed Garrett had a big balls inning, got out of a nice rally because Frankie loves coming out for the 6th inning, but not getting any outs.
Frankie 5 innings.
Yeah, Frankie 5 innings, a double and a double because Jonathan India can't hit against anybody in the league, but fucking shows up against us for 3 games. Can't get out. Reed Garrett comes in with Jonathan India on second base, immediately gets to third base in the bad pickoff attempt, and then he holds Jonathan India at third base in a one-run game with Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, and Michael Garcia up, which that might not sound like the most menacing hitters, to the common fan, but those are by far the three best hitters in this lineup. So
Pretty
doing
much
against
the
them,
the only three hitters in this lineup.
that's absolutely the most difficult stretch you could have possibly had against the Royals, which is a man on third, nobody out, with Bobby Witt, Vinny Pasquantino, Michael Garcia up, and Reed Garrett did it as Reed Garrett does it. But then there was a bit of a bridge issue because you wanted Frankie to get that sixth inning so you could just figure out a way Reed and Diaz. Garrett goes that one inning. It was a difficult inning, so he couldn't go two. And then, as has happened the last few weeks, that bridge was Chris Davinsky. And Chris Davinsky, he's become this season's Phil Maton.
Ooh.
Where he showed up out of nowhere in the middle of the summer, and he's going to give us these 3 great months of relief with just bullshit. Change-ups.
Similarly, like Phil Maton at one point had a little spark in his career, disappeared for a little bit. Chris Davinsky was an elite reliever for the Astros during their big runs.
So was Maton.
Oh, yeah, they were both on the same team.
They're both Astros. Yeah, same bullpen.
Yeah, well said.
And they're also both these soft-tossing guys. Davinsky came out there. He did 21 pitches. I think it was 1 or 2 fastballs. I'll double-check it back right now. But it's just change-ups over and over and over again. I think the beauty of this Chris Davinsky movement is that can't last forever. No. You can't just be a change-up first right-hander and get through the league more than one time. But at a time when we needed somebody to emerge in this bullpen and just be somewhat moderately acceptable against in relatively high leverage spots late in games, like Chris Davinsky has done that. And we might have lost 2 or 3 more games over the last 3 weeks if Chris Davinsky wasn't here.
I was about to say, it is nice because he has that experience where he might not have that stuff anymore, but he's got the mental side of it where it's like he can come in and be like, I've done this before. Like, I can handle this. I know how to get out of these situations. And Chris Davinsky, like you said, has low-key been pretty great for this team, which is kind of something I did not expect to say. But I do remember when we signed him in spring training, talking about it, we're like, Chris Davinsky's going to get some big outs for this team. We know
chaos. That's it. He's thrown 9 innings this year. The whip is under 1 and the ERA is under 2. So
elite reliever. Put him on the all-star team like Mizorowski.
Yeah, right. Not that different, but yeah, we could talk about Mizorowski too. I forgot that happened this weekend. So many other things happened in the baseball world, but that was huge. And Edwin Diaz just completely rocking the world for his 1 inning of work. Just looks so fucking good. He's been so damn good this entire season, besides for the tiny little blip in April.
Which he's a human.
Yes, and again, since then, fucking great. Once we figured out that his legs were different sizes, there's no stopping Edwin Diaz. And he's even doing this without the peak velocity. Like, remember when Tacoma was sounding the alarm bells, like Edwin Diaz sitting 97.
Don't get me started on Tacoma. He's on my shit list right now. He's getting media marveled at some point here.
Well, we'll get to all the media stuff this weekend because we had a full weekend of Steve Gelbs too, which we definitely talk about. But Edwin Diaz looks so fucking good. The way he's using that fastball and the slider, no one knows which one is coming. When he has no, when he has command of both of them, he's really still just one of the 3 or 4 best relief pitchers in baseball. And I'm happy that he's here, and also happy that Carlos Mendoza was like, "Fuck it, it's the All-Star break, 2 innings, just get them all out."
I got a question for you. Is Bobby Witt out? Because I sure as hell can't believe he was called out after review. I'm not really sure how that one went our way.
There's no fucking way Bobby Witt was out. We also forgot to talk about that in the Friday game because the same thing happened, but not as egregious as the Bobby Witt play heard around the world.
Yeah, the Bobby Witt play. Every angle and every replay that I've seen, I'm not really sure how that one got overturned, especially because he was called safe on the field. If he was called out on the field, maybe I could understand they can't overturn it. But the fact that it went from safe to out, first, tip your cap. Luis Torrens, again, continues to be outstanding defensively at throwing out runners.
And the guys in the video room.
Yes.
To even throw that challenge out there is like, holy shit.
Yeah, crazy. That being said, bigger baseball conversation here. I think Major League Baseball needs to release the footage from inside the umpire room out in Secaucus where it's like, I want to hear what they're saying, what they're actually physically seeing to see why these calls are being changed or confirmed or just left alone because I still don't know how that one got overturned, even though I'm happy about it.
We've seen a lot of takes about this call this weekend. That this what happens because this happens every once in a while, where the terminology is thrown around that's not in the spirit of the rule. That these guys are off the base for a millisecond in the middle of a slide, and the way it looked on the replay, it did seem like when Bobby Witt slid over the base, there was a moment when his hip wasn't on the base, but his arms weren't on either. He was kind of hunched with his shoulders over the base, and I was like, I guess if you have that frame by frame, there probably was a second there where he actually wasn't on it. And Francisco Lindor kept the tag on the whole time, so he is out. But that spirit of the rule is probably something that has to come into the actual language of this instant replay review because this happens far too often. The Mets have gotten screwed by this a few times as well. Everyone gets screwed by this.
It's the annoying thing where it's like it is technically the right call, but like you said, in the spirit of the game, in terms of baseball, that's not the right call at all.
that call happening the way it does, as often as it does, makes me like not even that thrilled that we have this instant replay at the level we have it at sometimes. Because I'm just like, what? This sucks. Like, I don't want, no one should get screwed up on a call like that, truthfully. Like, there's no reason. And shout out the Royals fans because they booed for 15 consecutive minutes into the next inning about that happened, because you got a man on second, one out, Pasquantino at the plate. Like, that's a moment right there. And man, second, one out against Edwin Diaz, you need that. And then when they stole their base, who was it? That was Tolbert. That was Lofton. Whoever. I got them confused in the ninth inning on Sunday. It was
Tolbert.
Easily confusable players. They gave a huge standing ovation. The crowd. They're like, yeah, we stole the base. Finally stole the base. Third try, we got it. And also, just to put lipstick on a pig for this conversation, credit to Luis Torrens for even making it that close. Because of how slow Edwin Diaz is the plate. It was a pitch out, and he put the throw completely on the fucking money. Like, and then
also how insanely fast Bobby Witt Jr. is, that on a designed pitch out, he still was pretty much safe.
So beat the throw by a step.
Yeah.
But again, like, you need some bullshit sometimes to win these games. The only runs we scored until the ninth inning was a mammoth Juan Soto home run. Still probably the best All-Star snub ever. Like one of the best first, I guess, besides Michael Busch in the same year, which is crazy.
Yeah, Michael Busch not making it's also crazy. Matt Olson made it over him. I can't even wrap my head around
bullshit.
It. Yeah.
Michael Busch has like a 950 OPS, like some of the best stats in the entire National League.
There it is. Been one of the best hitters in baseball this year.
Literally. But Soto hit that home run onto the waterfall at Kauffman Field. I never see home runs get hit there. They were marveling at it for a while. Ronnie couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. What was Gelbs saying? Because he was on fire on the mic this weekend.
Gelbs was talking like this and then leaving dead space, but making the call sound like questions the whole time.
It did sound like questions.
I love every single one.
My particular favorite part, this will lead us into game 3, was when they were bringing up Alcides Escobar. And because he's cousins with Acuna and Michael Garcia. Because Michael Garcia and Acuna are cousins. So they brought up Alcides Escobar, and Gelbs brings up, he's like, oh yeah, every time I hear Alcides Escobar, I think about Noah Syndergaard throwing at him. And Ron's like, I think of a different first pitch of the game. And
I was like, are you serious?
And Gelbs was like, no, it's the same one. And he's like, really? And he's like, well, what were you thinking? He's like, when Alcides Escobar hit inside the park home run to start off the World Series, and every Mets fan knew, we're like, fuck, like this isn't gonna go well. Yeah, that was. He was busy watching the Yankees, or SNY wasn't working that series, so I don't know. He was watching the Rangers, whatever he was doing.
Yeah, that is telling, and we take our shots at Gelbsy, but like he does a totally fine job, like as a reporter, like he
sideline guy is great.
Yeah, what he does there is amazing. He got that he had something go viral last week where he talked about the intercept point for Juan Soto, something we told you guys about like 3.5 months ago.
Yeah,
but
we're first.
He's good at that. Gelbs is good at getting those stories. He's good at getting the scoops. The people that like him, that's the number one thing you have to be as a reporter. Be likable, be someone that the players can speak openly with. When he does, and this will be the first meeting, Marv, we'll get some more later. When he's play-by-play, he just simply doesn't have it.
It's like,
it sucks.
It's like disturbing to listen to.
It's just
like, right?
It's not even disturbing. It makes me appreciate Gary Cohen so much more. It suddenly makes me as a Mets fan feel not special anymore, because I listen to other broadcasts. 90% of them, like, holy shit,
bad.
Like, they're not even in the same galaxy as what the Mets can do. Gary Cohen, Keith and Ron on the mic. But then Gelbs comes on, you're like, okay, this now sounds like a lot of the other just media trained people who just have this.
What's your least favorite broadcast off the top of your head?
Twins.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say Twins too. I'm like,
that was easy.
You listen to them, you're like, I'm not really even sure what sport I'm watching half the time. If you just listen to a Twins game.
Nothing says summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Never bet on baseball before? It's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
And I'll say this at the same time, because this was that rare weekend. It usually happens every year this weekend where both Gary and Howie are off at the same time because before the All-Star break, these guys deserve their vacations, take as much time as they need. Keith Rad
his
is
calls are
fucking
great.
incredible. Keith Rad did this whole week because Pat Murphy had a baby
McCarthy.
as well. Pat Murphy, God. The
Pat
Irish
Murphy.
got the Pat Murphy.
11 o'clock at night. You're a little tired. It's been a long weekend.
11:30 on Sunday. My brain's not working well right now. But Pat McCarthy wasn't there either because he just had a baby. So Anthony Recker was there. I think it was the first time he's done radio. And Recker did a pretty good job. We were going to media marvel him before that awful doubleheader too that happened on Thursday. But he did a good job. But it was really Keith carrying that broadcast because it was Reck's first time in that booth. And a lot of Keith's calls from that great win on Friday did make it onto Twitter. El Troll was clipping a couple of those as well and putting it over the television game feed just to tell you how Gelbs sounded during some of those calls. But he's incredible. And I do think that it's like someone like Gelbs, like if he's actually being groomed for this SNY play-by-play role, which is really good. It's a really good chance there is. Like, I think he could take a page out of Gary's book, and I would love some Home and Homes where Gelbs would do radio, and then we can get Keith on TV. But the problem, if we put Keith on TV, someone else is going to find Keith Rad. Keith Rad's going to get a job just like Wayne Randazzo. And I don't want that because I listen to a lot of games on the radio, and Keith is incredible.
I also think it's not fair to the people listening on the radio if Gelbs is on the radio. It's just, again, we're watching the game, and we're like, not the greatest. Imagine if you can't see what's going on, and you just have to hear about what's going on. You're really going to be confused. Again, he's not a play-by-play guy, so he's not doing a job that he is meant to do. But also at the same time, I really hope SNY thinks he's not the next Kevin Burkhardt because he's not.
And then also, but at the same time as that's why I think radio reps would help.
You think
like
so? Because we physically have to.
You have to start
everything.
talking. Like when we talked to Howie, he said that like games on the radio, like that's the art form. And we've heard Keith talk about that as well, about how we talked to Wayne Randazzo about that as well. Like Wayne talked about how much doing games on the radio helped him do games on television.
And Gary was a radio guy too.
100%. Like you can't have that dead air on the radio because it's the fucking radio. Like people are not looking at anything like besides the car they're driving or the bike they're riding, like me through Brooklyn. But that I think is something because Gelbs seems like he would get stuck sometimes and then do the Michael K where he wouldn't talk for 8, 9, 10 seconds.
A lot of watching.
Like, all right. Yeah, like come on, let's get something going here. And Ron was good too because Ron. The guys do this, but they love to rip him. Even though he's sitting in the booth next to him, Ron did not stop just like lightly bullying him a little bit, which I thought was kind of a nice touch.
That's also endearing to Steve Gelbs too. That means that's
100%.
They like you. You're part of the club,
him.
guys. Like
yeah, you're in the crew. But again, as much that's enough we could do about Steve Gelbs in this game.
Of course.
The Saturday game, while the result wasn't good, I think we can
Sunday.
really Sunday game, while the result wasn't good, we can be really excited about what we saw from Sean Manaea.
Sean Manaea looked awesome. He looked great.
Fantastic.
He came out 3 1/3 innings, struck out 7. I know he gave up the game-winning run at the end of the game, whatever you want to make that take be. But the stuff looked great. Got a ton of swing and misses. The fastball had some life, sitting 94, 93 at times. He felt like he was locating. There was an at-bat. Vinny Pasquantino won the at-bat.
Yeah.
But he was making pitch after pitch after pitch. And that's one of those, you tip your cap to the Pasquatch. Just a great at-bat. Really good hitter. But Sean Manaea was putting things on the black. He was doing different pitches, inside, outside, high, low. And I was like, wow. Like, I know it's been a minute since we've watched him pitch. Maybe I forgot a bit, but he really is a solid pitcher and helps his team out so much having him back.
Yeah, he looked the same as he did last year when he was at his best, which is something I think we were both a little bit afraid of. And still moving forward, coming back from these 2 injuries, like definitely a long way to go to where like supremely max NLDS confident in Sean Manaea again. But like it was amazing to watch. The at-bats against Salvador Perez are what really got me. Because Salvi's a dead red hitter. And Sean Manaea said, I don't give a fuck. Like, here's the fastball high. Give it a shot. And he got him with those fastballs high multiple times. Where I was like, that not only is something that is one crazy, it takes balls to do that Salvador Perez. Like he struck him out swinging twice with high fastballs in the zone. Like it was like, damn, like to have that confidence with that pitch right now. And it was the Sean Manaea approach that we saw last year with the low arm slot, with the weird extension and just grooving those fastballs high. And you commanded those were shockingly good for how long of a layoff he's had while breaking down the sweepers. A couple of them, he tried to get back foot. Some of them kind of sat in the zone. That's what did make him susceptible at times, but burying them against the lefties too and being able to spot that fastball, like you said, in the different quadrants against the lefties. Like I left this game feeling ridiculously confident in Sean Manaea.
Do you think his next start is going to be a full start for him, or do you think they do another piggyback off of Clay Holmes type thing? Because I'll say this too, I don't hate that either. Like Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, it's your game. Finish it.
I don't either, but then the flip side of that is how do you manage the rest of the rotation if that's what you're doing? Like, I think, and this is something that some of you guys got on us for last episode, being critical of David Stearns, not at any point seemingly wanting to bring up Nolan McLean or Brandon Sproat yet. I think we'll talk about that more philosophically. We just go through this conversation. But with Kodai Senga, the Mets have always strongly preferred to use a six-man rotation so that everyone can get the extra day. Right now, like we counted before, you really only have the five starters, Manaea, Holmes, Peterson, Senga, and Montas. So you can't really smash any guys together because then you only have four.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know the off days line up decent after the break, but you don't really want to do that, especially with Manaea and Kodai. You do want to be giving those guys breaks. Same with Clay Holmes, who's already well past his career high in innings. And this is something that we're going to have to monitor the whole second half, which is why I do think that it could have made sense over the last month because it wasn't going to be a short-term thing. If you get Sproat and McLean coming up and they were pitching the Waddell Hageman games where if they're comfortable pitching 3 innings in July, it'll probably make them more comfortable pitching 5 innings in August and then maybe 6 in September if you actually need them. Or they can still pitch 3 if that's what the roster calls for. And I do think part of this conversation is that I think Stearns wants to keep the chips in front of him just in case the deal comes along to possibly trade one of those guys at the deadline. I don't think that's likely, but a losing team would want them more so if their clocks have not been started yet and they don't have to add them to their 40-man rosters immediately when they trade for them. That part of it makes sense. That part of it we left out last episode, so get hand up on that one. We were pissy after that doubleheader. But I do like this too, and it was nice to have a game where we're not even thinking about the bullpen.
No.
That felt good. His bullpen's pitch.
God, people who watch baseball in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you have no idea how you had it. You were like, oh, we got one guy in the bullpen. He's going to throw a 3-out or a 3-inning save if we need him. If not, the starter's going to go the entire game. Not thinking about matchups or who's going to come into the game. It's like the most relaxing thing ever as a baseball fan.
It was such a pleasure. I was hanging out with our guy Ernie on a Saturday. We were dual screening the Mets game and the Futures game at the same time. And somehow Christy Mathewson came up. I don't know why. I don't know how. First of all, something insane to think about how old Christy Mathewson died in 1925. He died in 1925. That's how long ago he's been dead. 100 years he's been dead. And he still has all-time major league records. What were we talking? I don't know how Christy Mathewson came up, but there
is
was
he the
one
gentleman's
season,
hurler or is that Walter Johnson?
I think Walter Johnson, the gentleman's hurler. Maybe Christy Mathewson. I'm not sure. Mathewson came before. He was the New York Giants guy, though. There was one year where he won 37 games, and he made like 44 starts and like 10 relief appearances. He had 37 wins and something like 8 saves. I was like, that's what baseball, that's what he's meant to be played.
Gentleman's hurler, Christy Mathewson confirmed.
That was it. He got the gentleman's hurler, Christy Mathewson. But again, I think in a perfect world, I do like conceptually some of these guys piggybacking with each other, especially with Holmes. Like, I don't know how many more than 5 outings we get from Clay Holmes the rest of the season.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be really difficult. Just like you said, he's reached the most innings by far he's ever thrown in a professional season. And while I think he still looks strong, I think he had another great outing. The stuff looks great. I don't see anything diminishing. There does have to be some sort of plan for this because we just know that the human arms can't really just all of a sudden throw 180 innings after you've thrown 60 every year.
Let's just Seth Lugo. I think Clay Holmes is one of the arms that can because like he's so fucking big. He's huge.
Pause.
And no, like a lot of pauses lately. I don't know how to phrase this. He has so many high leverage innings that I do feel like the 70 that he was throwing isn't like a natural 70. Like I don't think his 70 and Brandon Waddell's 70 that he's going to wind up this year are going to look the same at the end of the season, like in the wear and tear they put on your body. And also like if we were seeing significant drops in velocity from Clay Holmes, I would be right there, be like, I think he should maybe move to the bullpen now, but we're not. He still touched 97 this game, and he still sat 94, 95. Like, if that is the Clay Holmes, and again, still by the last inning, he dropped down 91, 92. But he's had this huge gradient all season, and I honestly think that we're seeing better command of his sweeper as the season goes on. He was front-dooring that sweeper to the righties in this game, something we haven't seen him done much this season. And there were a couple where I think he got Salvi or Michael to, like, buckle back, and I was like, oh, damn, like that. Clay hasn't had that in his bag this season, so he's still doing the things that we wanted him to do always, and I think that's fine. But I also just think that being said, like he's stuck between 70 and 90 pitches at this point. We just have to accept that going forward, and that means we can't really do these piggybacks. I think this is just a rare thing because of the All-Star break. And also, hopefully, when things are going right, when we have Manaea and Senga at their full strength, those guys can go 6-7 innings. It takes less off of the bullpen. The bullpen can be more focused and used in these Clay Holmes starts. And hopefully you get another reliever or two as the trade deadline comes up. A lot of trade deadline content for you guys too. Also, just because the Mets lost this game, I don't want it to be lost that ninth inning comeback was incredible.
It was great.
Like, that was a sensational fucking moment.
Look what happens when the Mets put major league hitters in the lineup. It's not Luis Torrens and Luis Angel Acuna taking at bats.
And this is echoing some of the things that we were critical about with Carlos Mendoza in the episode after the Thursday doubleheader, where just because Luis Angel Acuna is here doesn't mean he has to be hitting as often as he's hit. And with that being said, Luis Angel Acuna had huge moments on defense in this series, especially in the game on Saturday. Same with Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor made an exceptional catch in the 9th inning, 8th inning of that game. 9th inning or 8th inning. I don't remember which one. On that game on Saturday, that did get washed away because of all the other stuff. And Tyrone has hit better of late, but he is. We know the hitter that Tyrone Taylor is. Again, that being said, when we can have that righty come in and you can have Jeff McNeil come up and you can have Ryan Mauricio switch to the left side, and then Brett Baty take good at bat but not come through. Jared Young with a huge sacrifice fly. Everyone loved that one. Jared Young's world, we're all living in it. It was really nice to see that rally and this team just battled their way back. I know they lost the last inning. That kind of did screw it up a little bit, but that was very fun. That was a fun moment.
I keep going back to with Luis Angel Acuna, a comment I made earlier in the year, and I think it might be even more true now, where I was like, I still weirdly feel like he's most valuable and most useful on this team as a spark plug, late inning defense, pinch runner. If he gets an at bat late in the game, he kind of just happens to. But that is the role I think he needs to be used in. I'll be honest, I don't think he can be starting games right now when the Mets are trying to be competitive and fighting for the NL East crown, because he's just the at bats are really, really bad. Like, they've gotten way, way, way worse, and he looks a little pouty too, or a little bit upset, little pissy. That's a good word. He looks a little pissy. The defense is still phenomenal, and I think at the end of games, awesome. Luis Angel Acuna should be playing second base. He should be in the game. He has a great glove, and he turned great double plays. Him and Lindor on Bobby Witt Jr. today. You never see. I wonder how many times in Bobby Witt Jr.'s career he's grounded out twice into a double play in the same game.
I have a stat for you. Coming into this game, he only grounded into one double play all season.
So we got him twice in one game.
We got him twice. We doubled up his double plays for the entire season in this game. He's the fastest guy in baseball. Bobby Witt seeing Bobby Witt Jr. this weekend, it's like he's just electric.
Yeah, he made ridiculous plays in the field. On the flip side, Ronnie Mauricio needs to play so much. He's so good. I'm really starting to get excited about what we're seeing from Ronnie. I feel like anecdotally, he's being more patient. He's laying off those curveballs and sliders out of the zone a little bit more, and I feel like he's making more consistent contact. And the double that he had today was that was a loud liner where the guy playing left field thought that ball was hit right at him, and then he turned around. He's like, "Oh shit!" Over my head, hits off the wall. I'm really excited about Ronnie Mauricio.
And this was the whole thing we always talk about Mauricio. It's like he's physically capable of doing things not many other humans on earth are physically capable of doing. That's kind of always the thing that we hang our hats on with Ronnie Mauricio, because he's special. He has specialness inside of him. And I do think that it has been a bit of a winding road for him to get to this point. But what you were just saying is not anecdotal. Ronnie Mauricio is more patient at the plate. He is. While he's still swinging a similar amount, he is chasing less. We're on about a 15-game stretch right now where Ronnie Mauricio has been well better than league average with his chase rate, which is shocking, I think, to say the least, from where Ronnie Mauricio came. But it's a good spot. It's trended up different directions, but it's not been untenable at all. And that's come with him actually swinging more often at pitches inside the strike zone. There was a great piece by, I'm pretty sure it was Tacoma a few days ago, that he has just been at Juan Soto's hip.
And
those have been the guys.
He's been very vocal too, Ronnie Mauricio. A lot of talking.
He spoke up in the players only meeting. And I think that's a huge thing for a young player. Whenever I hear baseball players do content, they talk about players only meetings. They're like, "Yeah, I hope you're hoping one veteran speaks up. And none of the rookies will."
Yeah,
Ryan Mauricio was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to talk." Like, I've been around this clubhouse for a while, and he's someone that, again, he can do things on a baseball field that other people can't. He's been sick at third base.
Yeah,
hilariously good at third base. He hits the ball so fucking hard. Now, if his plate discipline is even average, and all of these tools can actually play up, like, you have a chance to see someone who can be like a spark. We talk about Luis Angel Acuna and the spark plug and like the traditional term spark plug. You know what I mean? Small, fast, can't really hit, but you call him spark plug to be nice. Ronnie Mauricio could be a spark plug like what Vientos was a spark plug last year. Where it's like you can now put him 6th or 5th in the order, and he can win you. He can win you games. He could fuck somebody up. He could fuck someone's day up, and that's the kind of the hope of Ronnie Mauricio. And I tweeted, I'm threatening it right now because Ronnie Mauricio does have an option, and he's someone that has multiple options. If Ronnie Mauricio gets sent down with the roster crunch that happens for this team after the break, and we get Marte and Winker back, and we have to figure out what's going on with Acuna and Beatty and Vientos is here, I will go on a hunger strike. I will.
Okay.
I'll go 48 hours. I will not eat. I'm 48 hours. I will not eat. If Ronnie Mauricio goes down to the minor leagues without, and then we'll have to. You'll be the judge of this. an untenable increase in his chase rate.
Okay.
Because right now, he is so clearly and obviously one of the better position players on of the infield options in this team. He has to be in the lineup as much as possible. I still don't really love him in the lineup against lefties because I still think righty he is kind of lost. But he had actually a couple decent at bats against Noah Cameron in this game too, where I was like, this actually doesn't even look that bad anymore. And even a couple of like foul tips where he was like, he was fighting with 2 strikes, getting down the count early, but still managing to get there. He put a 76-mile-an-hour swing on Noah Cameron ball in the first inning for his singles. Like there's crazy growth happening quickly with Ryan Mauricio. When you see shit like that, that's when the antennas go up. You're like, this could be a guy.
Yeah. And Mets could use it. Mets could definitely use it. Ron Mauricio being
having a guy.
Quality player would be really fucking sweet for this team.
Changes his entire nexus to this team. That's also why the Mark Vientos conversation keeps getting tighter because like, where can you find a spot to play? Where do you play? And you don't have a fucking option. Thank you, Billy Epler. I also think that the guy that we're really going to try to peddle in trades is going to be Luis Angel Acuna.
Yes, because
I think that we're dying to trade him.
Basically has no options. And
he still has an option.
Yes, but
he can't go back down to the minor leagues this year.
Correct.
Yes.
So he has no options. So
theoretically.
You think they'd move him for like a whatever reliever? You think it's one of those kind of things?
Kind of, yeah, because he's valuable right now to another team where this is, again, where the game of baseball gets not that fun, similar to the draft, which we're going to talk about with you guys in a few minutes, where if you trade Luis Angel Acuna to, for lack of a better term, a bad team, and you let him play the rest of the year in the major leagues.
The Rockies would kill to have him.
Jake Bird for Luis Angel Acuna.
I think
awesome.
I'd sign the papers right now. I'll drive him to Colorado.
But then next year, Luis Angel Acuna starts the season in the minor leagues after finishing the season in the major leagues. Then you've preserved a whole nother year of Luis Angel Acuna development for a guy that's still young and has still flashed legitimate tools at multiple high-value positions on defense and somehow, some way, for 2 weeks last year in September was a power hitter. Like I don't know how or why that happened. I have no fucking clue. But like we're really trying to thread the needle right now, and I think that is the hope for David Stearns over these next few weeks. That he probably can turn Luis Angel Acuna into someone that delivers some value to this major league team this season.
Yeah, and he's definitely trying to thread the needle because last thing we'll mention here before we get into the media marvels and a little bit of Jonah Tong talk and MLB draft. Alvarez hit more home runs. He did it off of Andrew Painter, who's a major league pitcher basically down in AAA for the Phillies. He's looking awesome. The exit velos have been awesome. The power has been awesome. I saw the Mets community tab on Twitter is like one of the craziest places on earth. And shout out to you for keeping it somewhat positive with your game notes and not being a cesspool guy. But someone was like, I think we lost Alvarez, guys. He's hitting 220. It's like he has 8 home runs in 14 games. Are we fucking serious?
Well, the tweet actually was, I sent this to you, and I really couldn't believe it as I was reading it. I got scrolled. We got too many DMs here.
We do
too many DMs this weekend. Jeez, ridiculous.
What else we got in there? Anything we could share?
Not really. Maybe one day. Definitely not right now. A lot of Anthony Volpe talk, which was fun.
It's fair.
Where was that DM about the Parada lines? I texted to you?
Did you? Oh, man, this is really good podcasting now because now we're both looking for it while we're on Twitter. Did you send it to me from...
Oh, from Mets'd. I sent you from Mets'd.
Yes.
Okay. I also loaded up the media mark if we got that.
I got basically, you want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it.
So this guy named Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd, which is a unreal. He follows me. All right. What's up, Floyd? Alvarez is batting 200 in AAA. It might be over, which that's insane, especially when we see the power numbers. He's just doing the Eric Chavez. I don't know if that was like a meta joke about like the Eric Chavez thing because he hit all those home runs, but he didn't have a high average, and Chavez said he had a shit season, which that would be sick if that was the meta joke. But shout out to Guy on the Couch, who also follows me. Wow. We might see Parada.
I can't believe a Mets fan follows you. You only have 90,000 of those.
Whatever. We might see Parada move past Alvarez soon. Alvy trending down and Parada trending upward, both the same age. Couldn't believe it.
That's like that when you wrap around that comment, you get to you're the same age comment. That's when you kind of realize this. But this is a good lead into the media marvel this week. We had a couple other ones planned again, but they're not that timely anymore. So we're still keeping our eyes out. We know who we're looking at. They know they're looking at us. We know who we're going to get eventually back for the Michael K. Memorial Media Marvel of the Week. But this one goes to someone named Cody Duncan at Cody Duncan PGH. He is a Pittsburgh Pirates blogger. That's his bio. He kind of seems like might be the Pirates version of me, for being honest here for a second.
It feels very similar.
Yeah, he had a tweet on Friday morning. Would you make this trade if you were the Pirates? Mitch Keller to the Mets, Ryan Mauricio to the Pirates, and Jonah Tong to the Pirates.
How do I run out of here and make it if I'm a Pirates fan? Like, yes.
Mauricio MLB stats, 25 games, 244 average, 311 on base, 427 slug. Tong, Double-A stats, 15 starts, 1.83 ERA. And I'm proud of all of us Mets fans because we flooded this guy's responses. I ratioed him. He got quote tweeted to hell. He deleted his reply to me because he really sounded bitchy.
Did you really delete it?
Yeah, he deleted his reply to me where he was like, "Oh, like this guy's not proven. Like, what do you think about this?"
Yeah,
I was just being like very respectful to him. I was like, "Dude, I just don't think you realize how good Jonah Tong is." And I think that was true for a lot of people in the world until Saturday, where Jonah Tong walked into the Futures game and just lit it on fire. Jonah Tong, I think, watching that whole game was one of the most impressive players that stepped on the field. I think it was Tong, Durangelo, I don't know how to say his name,
Senga.
Durangelo Senga, and then Josue DePaulo, who had the big hit. And then Lou James Groover, he hit the ball over the field too. He was crushing the ball. And then I think Owen Casey as well. But Tong from the pitching side looked fucking unbelievable. I clipped a strikeout he had of Harry Ford where he threw him a 3-2 curveball. The ball's on Jonah Tong to throw Harry Ford, who's basically a major leaguer at this point. He'll be up this second half for the Mariners for sure. Be the new backup catcher to Cal Raleigh whenever they put Mitch Garver out to pasture. But it's to get to a 3-2 count against, again, Harry Ford, great prospect, knocking the door of being a major league hitter. I think will be a plus major league hitter when he gets there. To drop that 3-2 hammer on him, low in the zone too, where he think he may have been expecting a changeup. He sure probably thought he was going to go and get a fastball. That's not even Tong's best secondary pitch anymore. The changeup has passed it. It was a disgusting move, and Tong was like giggling to himself after he did it. Harry Ford even looked back at him like bugged out of his head, like, "Holy shit! I can't believe you just did that." But
who was announcing the game? Was Lance on the mic? Because whoever was talking about was like, that 3-2 curveball is just really unfair. Like, how do you throw that to a guy in this game? That's messed up.
Jonah Tong also had the most swings and misses for any pitcher in this game because everyone throwing one inning at a time with 3. That one being one of them. Jonah Tong also pushed up to 97 miles an hour, which is the top end of his his velocity gradient right there. Like you left this game, people are now paying much closer attention than Jonah Tong, where the buzz is now fully here. When we get this next graduation of the pitching prospects this coming offseason, Jonah Tong will get buzz as one of the best pitching prospects in baseball, and he deserves to get that buzz.
Very much so. Apologies if we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I've recently been seeing the Tim Lincecum comp as a pitcher, and I kind of fucking love it.
Oh, I think that was either Mayo or Jim Callis. I think they were the first one who did that on Pipeline.
I love it.
No, it's awesome because you see a guy like Tong who is slight, and he has, especially for a pitcher, just the skinniest little shoulders. That's the best way I can describe that. Teeny tiny shoulders. Another funny thing about Tong, since that we've revamped all of our player development, all our pro and amateur scouting with Steve Cohen the last few years, I think he's the only high school pitcher we've drafted.
He, I believe, is because...
And Ziegler, I think, actually. Similar concept.
Ziegler was technically Cohen era, but that was like the weird time. Yeah.
But it's when you see Tong pitch, it's like he gets so much of his body in. There's so much twist in his midsection. We talked about this years ago when we started talking about Jonah Tong and about that great tip from Isaac Groffman, who Isaac was making Mets threads on Twitter, and now he's doing analytics for a major college baseball program. But insane. That's how quickly it can happen. If you guys are interested in getting these baseball jobs, you got to start making your work public. But when he twists around, he comes over the top. Tong has that fastball he's releasing directly above his head. It's so bizarre. And that's how he's able to get, that's not even how. It's like he's able to get the amazing fastball shape in spite of that. And when he's now up to 96, 97 miles an hour with that incredible vertical action on that pitch, like it's ridiculous. Now that he has 2 downward vertical options to drop off that, like I don't know what stops him from being an impact pitcher sooner rather than later.
No, I was going to text you this, but I wanted to save it for the podcast. He is officially on my untradeable list. You can't trade Jonah Tong.
Yeah, you think so?
Can't trade him. Can't do it. I think what we saw there's like this weird thing going on, and I don't know if we're just readjusting of how we think about pitching, but we're seeing now that you don't need to be a starting pitcher that throws 102 the entire game. You can sit in that 96, 97 spot and still be one of the best pitchers in the game. We've seen Skeens take his velo down. We've seen a couple other guys, Crochet's taking his velo down, and you're still one of the best pitchers in the game. Tong's got that 96, 97. That seems to be the sweet spot of like the fastball can still be an elite pitch and you can be a great pitcher. From what I saw in that small sample on TV in the Major League Stadium, I was like, I think I messed up when I said I'd trade Jonah Tong. I think we cannot trade this guy right now.
I still think if you get like a super ace, you could trade him.
Who's your super ace?
Well, I don't know who that is right now. It doesn't
just give me a name. Just give me a name.
Like Crochet.
Okay, yeah, deal.
I would have put him in the trade for Crochet, but
sure.
I'm not putting him in the trade for like a 3. Like I'm definitely not putting him in the trade for Mitch Keller. Sorry, Cody Duncan, but
not Sandy Alcantara either.
No, definitely not at this point. Maybe 2021 Sandy Alcantara, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe then, yeah.
But I think it's like this is like we are approaching unicorn stuff. Like he's got a 41% strikeout rate as a 22-year-old in Double-A.
He's unproven, James. You don't understand. He's an unproven prospect. He's not on MLB Pipeline's top 100 enough.
No, exactly. But like it's freaky shit. And the fact that this changeup came along to become a plus pitch, if he can add one more thing, and I know that Jonah Tong is never really going to have any pitch that moves east to west because when you release the ball up here, you can't do it. But there has to be some kind of slider he can develop out of that slot. There has to be. I know there is.
Maybe he doesn't need though, because the curveball is platoon neutral.
But there's still so many walks is the problem because that curveball I think is a relatively easy take pitch, which I think is why Harry Ford was so shocked to see that in the 3-ball count in the Futures game. He was like, "What the fuck was that?" So I think everything is like, he's not going to throw me that pitch 2 strikes, 2 or 3 balls. I mean, there's no way. So I think that is one thing that still keeps him back. But that fastball on top of everything is just awesome. Getting 22 inches of IVB from that slot, and like now with again 2 legitimate secondary pitches, like has 41% K rate in Double-A as 22-year-olds. It's disgusting. And he still hasn't even hit a roadblock besides that walk rate. But he even with a 11% walk rate at Double-A, it's whips under 1 because no one gets hit. It doesn't fucking matter.
And if you are going to strike out 40% of guys, 10% walk rate with no hits, like literally doesn't matter at all. It's the Edwin Diaz conversation that we've had where it's like doesn't really care about the walks because he strikes the next guy out.
But again, major league hitters, they will. You
Different.
can't walk.
Yeah, no, of course.
There's like how many successful pitchers in the league walk 10% of guys? It's like Snell and Kodai off the top of my head.
One of them's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Right
That's true. You're not wrong about that.
Also, Blake Snell, big thing, fastball, curveball, changeup at first?
Yes.
And now he has the slider.
No, the slider came along. The changeup was bad. The slider came in. The slider got bad. But it was always the fastball and curveball. That was always his thing. That was Nick Pollock always talks about that with Blake Snell, where it's just high fastballs and curveballs. But Snell's curveball does have a little bit more to plane from lefty because he's not. No one's besides Glass now. No one's over the top as Tong. So maybe there is something to there. But it was fun to watch him. Also, I want to shout out Trey Savage. He was also really, really impressive. I don't want the Blue Jays fans. I don't want the Blue Jays fans to get on me again.
We know
he also looked really, really good.
Yeah, he's a guy who's got some crazy good stuff. And also, just a little funny story for you guys. Me and James are like 35-minute episode. We're 50 minutes in. I don't think we're even close to necessarily being done. Brandon Sproat has also been looking great in AAA again.
Yes, 18 consecutive scoreless innings for Brandon Sproat. Games being caught by Francisco Alvarez, which I think is a really fun caveat there. And it's just it's fun to watch this shit happen in real time because whenever we did these prospect reports all year, I was told, well, first to even backtracking to last year, the things that made me, especially and you two, excited about Brandon Sproat was like we saw someone with multiple secondary pitches who shouldn't have a problem with platoon splits coming up through the system, get to the major leagues fast because it was a slider, it was a curveball, a changeup, and a 100-mile-an-hour fastball with a sinker. You're like, fuck yeah. The Mets taught Sproat this sweeper. The sweeper's become a plus pitch. But I think the sweeper probably kind of fucked up his grips and his arm slots for the other pitches. He lost those other pitches. Now those pitches are back, and those pitches are all good, and the sweeper and the sinker are really good against the righties, and there's enough junk against the lefties. Now he looks really good again. Like, he's someone who I think does come up and still impact this team in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's going to have some big innings for this team down the stretch, especially now that it seems to be he's figuring it out. It's going to be huge, huge for this Mets rotation. Even, like you said, just to give Clay Holmes maybe an extra day even in a rotation for a spot start here and there, it'd be huge to have Sproat be able to come up.
Definitely. And there was a great thread this weekend by Aiden Lippincott at Aiden Lip BB, Baseball Analytics for Teams Elite, through him a follow, because it was a really good thread about Sproat, his usage, and the different shapes released on those secondary pitches. So we'll be good if you guys look him up. It got 100,000 impressions. It was really good. Really good thread. So just something to look at. And again, we do owe you guys a big prospect report soon. I guess we'll do that. Might be not this week after, some point in July.
Yeah, some point, maybe right before the trade deadline. Honestly, it feels like that could be a good time to drop one. Like, give you guys like, here's all the prospects.
Like a week and a half before the trade deadline, so we could do another one after the trade deadline.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because we have the MLB
fair.
Draft stuff coming out later this week, because day 2 is happening on the day that you guys are listening to this. So day 2 will be finished. We'll know all the draft picks that the Mets make in their 20 rounds. Right now, we know that they took Mitch Voit at number 38 overall, a second baseman out of the University of Michigan. Go blue. Is that what they say? You won't even say it. You won't even repeat it. Did you see the fun move the goalpost stat that the University of Michigan's running with right now?
No.
They're the only university ever to have a first-round pick in the NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB drafts in the same year, because he came in at number 38, and that technically is the first-round pick for the New York Mets.
Great. Technically a first-round pick. I thought those fucking assholes. They love to just move the goalposts. That's all they do. But you guys might know Mitch Voit from a really viral moment he had a few months ago where he slid head first into third base and then possibly, not knowing this for sure, allegedly allegedly snorted the third base foul line as if it was a white substance. Allegedly.
Yeah, cocaine maybe. I don't know. Like whatever you take it as you want. But
cocaine
could be cocaine. But Mitch Voigt, the thing that people like about Mitch Voigt, and I got also a little inside scoop. Shout out Alex Dinami, Red Sox fan that I've become friends with over time. His brother was Mitch Voigt's roommate at the University of Michigan, his little brother. And he said the dude's got unbelievable amount of swag, extremely confident, really, really talented player. And when you look at the numbers and you look at the stuff, it's exactly what he is. I don't know what a ceiling of Mitch Voigt can look like. I'm going to trust Mets player development to figure out all this stuff. But he does seem to fit kind of what the Mets mold has been for a lot of prospects recently on the hitting side.
Yes, a lot of very smart people. I want to shout out my guy, MJD Analysis, Mikey. He's now working with Baseball Prospectus, doing all their draft stuff. He's very talented analyst, been friendly with him on Twitter for a few years. Immediately comped this to the Carson Bench pick from last year. And it was similar traits and tools with Carson Bench, where there was really good raw power and there were very, very good swing decisions. And then just coming off being a two-way player. Mitch Voigt was a two-way player up until last year, the 2024 season at Michigan. And now this year he focused on hitting solely. And he has moved around the diamond a little bit. Does seem to have found a home at second base. Seems athletic enough to stick there defensively long term. Not the most premium position on defense, but also definitely not a bad one to be good at, to stay in the middle of the diamond still.
Yeah, I mean, you could be Andres Jimenez and get MVP votes playing good second base defense. So
people will defend your $20 million contract till the ends of earth on Twitter because of your B war for one season for a defensive.
That's for you,
Blue
Jays fans. Had to get it in there.
just in case. I give you guys a Trey Savage credit for how good he looked in that game, but. This is kind of the mold of what the Mets draft guys have done the last few years. Seems like they want these hitters that are a little bit more high floor. And I think that they're trying to, in this system, figure out some more stuff on the hitting side. We've done great with pitching development. I think we're still waiting for a couple of those real hitter clicks. Carson Bench has a chance to be that. And this is a very similar idea where we probably do have to alter some swing path things with Mitch Voigt. He did struggle a bit with velocity, some advanced data I saw. But again, you play in the Big Ten. Like, I don't really expect you to be that good against velocity. There's not much velocity in the Big Ten whatsoever. Look at my guy, Dominic Canzone. That's a real Buckeye Pazan right there. He's in the major leagues now. The Mariners had him wilting away in AAA. Now he's like the second best, third best hitter in their team. But I think it's a good profile to take when you don't have a high pick.
And then with pick number 102, they took Antonio Jimenez, a shortstop out of the University of Central Florida, transferred from Miami after his freshman season where he struggled. Was a beast at UCF as a sophomore, hit over 300, 400 on base percentage, double-digit home runs. The exit velos are slightly better than what Mitch Voigt gave us. I think he had a max exit velo in college at like 115, apparently, is what people have been saying on Twitter. At the Combine, these guys had very, very similar max exit velos with wood bats, around 108, 109 range, which is not elite power, but that's about as hard as Nolan Arenado's ever hit a baseball. In case you guys were wondering, that's our big litmus test.
Benchmark.
Him and Alex Bregman. That's like as hard as those guys have ever hit a baseball. Jimenez is a bit more of a swinger than Mitch Voigt. He will chase a little bit more, but I think there is a little more potential in what that bat could look like power-wise. And apparently, inside the zone, has elite bat-to-ball skills. And shout out Joe Doyle. He does some of the best MLB draft content on the internet. He's one of his 5 biggest sleepers of the entire draft. So I like hearing that stuff. Joe's nailed some draft picks in the past.
And Tyler Jennings, who does great work for Just Baseball Media, he said that same thing about Mitch Voigt, one of his biggest risers. Same with the Baseball Prospectus guys. And he was on Baseball America's finding hitter sleepers through the data in the MLB draft. So both of these guys were well liked by a lot of the smartest people who make MLB draft content, and they are things. And when we always talk about that stat about Bregman Arenado, that's the hardest they've ever hit a baseball. The reason those guys were able to have their like 100th percentile outcomes in becoming these insane major league players, I guess Bregman did it because he was such a high pick anyway, but it's just pulling the ball and lifting the ball. And that's something that both of these hitters showed that they could do in the minor leagues, which is in college. That's something that was different from Bench. We needed him to figure out lifting and pulling, but it does seem like he's gotten that now, especially crushing the ball at AA, which is amazing.
So good.
But even this season, Francisco Lindor hasn't even hit the ball 110 miles an hour. And he's still pacing to have one of the better power seasons of his career. So it's like the exit velocity is important, but swing path, getting the backspin, like that's a very important thing. It seems like if these guys at least are really good pieces to start out with. And the Mets hitting in the Mets system is not that great. We definitely have a way more, looks like major league caliber pitchers than hitters at the moment. We probably have 8 at least. AA and AAA. We almost have too many good pitchers right now, which is a kind of an insane problem to have. John Santucci's got the AA, and he's already throwing
looks awesome.
Stairs. Can't believe how good that guy fucking looks right now. So it is something that it's a good thing, I think, to get these high floor guys, because with the Cohen tax and with being a winning baseball team, we're not going to have high picks ever.
No, and it's also going to be so valuable to have some free baseball players that can actually do things.
Yeah, so valuable. And again, hopefully these guys are getting more of them. It looks like Carson Bench could be a major leaguer next year. Like if you're converting these draft guys that quickly, I think that's the idea when you're taking these like quote unquote high floor college hitters. Like that's the goal. That's the purpose.
Did you see, last thing I'll say here, I think before we wrap up the episode, I just saw like some interviews after the Futures game because both Benj and Tong were there. Benj talking about hitting in Brooklyn. He's like, yeah, the wind, I'm hitting into the beach. I'm hitting into the ocean every time. And my numbers still were good. I kept doing my same thing. It's really nice to play in Binghamton where I don't have that. So I thought that was really funny. And then Jonah Tong, two things. One, who's his favorite baseball player ever, James?
Mike Soroka,
ball knower. I know he's an Atlanta Brave, which, of course, I mean, he grew up in Georgia. If he wasn't a Braves fan and he said he wasn't, I'd almost be like, you don't like baseball. I don't trust you. Of course, he was a Braves fan. But Mike Soroka as his favorite player, fucking awesome. Ball knower right there.
Well, he didn't necessarily say it was his favorite players. Like, who'd you like watching when you were growing up? And the fact that he said Mike Soroka, I was like, I'm gonna K my ass. K my M.
But he also mentioned how he got to hang out with Sean Manaea and stuff when he was doing rehab. And he was like, Sean's a great guy. He's like, that's pretty much like the extent of it. He goes, and I beat him in Super Smash Bros. He was like, nobody can take that back from me. I was like, that's nice.
I was pissed off when someone didn't ask him who his characters were in Smash.
I know.
I was like,
who do you mean?
Yeah. Who do you mean, Jonah? It's like, I don't think any of those baseball writers would have ever said that. But fun weekend of baseball, All-Star Week coming up now. It's amazing how much MLB drops the ball this All-Star Week every single year. The fact that the Futures game happened at 4 p.m. on Saturday during the Mets game. The draft was happening during Major League Baseball games. Like, what the? Who's fucking scheduling this shit? Like, why is this happening? I got MLB. I have the fix for you right now. I'm ready to go. Sunday Night Baseball, Futures game. 7 o'clock, ESPN. Have Lance on. Have all of the prospect people you want on. Get all this good prospect talk going on because people love prospects. Prospects are so cool. Awesome. It's so much fun. Think about this. And most of these baseball teams out there fucking suck. So these people want to look to the future, and they have the prospects to look forward to for that. So that's how you fix that. Then you do the Home Run Derby on Monday, the All-Star game on Tuesday, and then Wednesday night, do the draft. Standalone event. No baseball games on TV. No college, no players that were drafted the MLB draft showed up to the draft this year. Can you believe that? And again, I know that's a lot of like the agent stuff. Scott Boras has never let his clients go to the draft. It's a posturing thing. It's on your contract. You don't want to give them the end. You take that photo op, you lose leverage.
Yeah.
There has to be a way to work this out and make this a better event because especially with Major League Baseball, as we get to a point now, and I think we're getting there, when player development is getting so good and so efficient, we're getting these guys to the major leagues fast. Like there's going like I can't even believe it, but like a guy like Nick Kurtz and guys like a guy like Chase Burns getting to the majors with less than a year of being drafted and being sick. Nick Kurtz is incredible. Nick Kurtz might win American League Rookie of the Year.
He might steal it from Jacob Wilson, who's also having an incredible year and got called up basically the same year he got drafted as well.
It's the fact that you're able to convert these college standouts into major league players within a year. There's a real opportunity for the MLB draft to gain so much buzz and so much steam really quickly. The only thing stopping it is that the whole thing's kind of rushed. It's kind of haphazard. It's happening during Major League games. It's weird timing for this whole All-Star week. So again, pleading with Major League Baseball. We know you guys are listening to this. Play the Futures game at a time people can watch it, not on Saturday at fucking 4 o'clock in the middle of summer, and do the MLB draft as still a standalone, like, stationary thing.
I think that's it. That's all we got.
Got Frankie.
Oh, Frankie Peppers. I need to hear him right before the All-Star break. I need to know what he's got going on.
Yeah, we missed Frankie last time because, again, we did the episode so fast. But and I told him, I was like, Frankie, don't waste your voice. We had the recorded. He was like, thank you for telling me. But we got Frankie Peppers. Here we go.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers. How you doing? So I'm here at Citi Field, and I just realized the Mets were away this weekend. I was gonna buy a ticket at the door, but it turns out the Mets are away. So I'm at Citi Field, and there's a lot of people here, like a lot of like very interestingly dressed folks. So I don't know what is going on, but I'll report back. I'm confused. I don't know what's happening, but I'll keep you boys updated. Pretty good series from these Mets going into the All-Star break with a series win. Sean Manaea is back looking good. And walk-offs happen. It happens, but we're looking good, boys. I'm excited for the second half. Enjoy the All-Star break, and I'll talk to you boys soon. Let's go, Mets.
Was Frankie Peppers at the Lumineers concert?
I think was there more Lumineers tonight? Was it the same show?
I don't know. I don't
listen. I don't keep track of the Lumineers.
I understand people that listen to this podcast might like the Lumineers. It's got to be one of the 5 worst bands on the planet.
I don't know, man. Ophelia hit different. Like in like 2012.
You see the clip of Mr. Met just fucking eat it off the stage?
Yeah, I mean, I always my antenna always goes up for that shit 'cause I know how much the Mets love a viral moment. But shout out our old high school classmate Jesse Finver for taking the video that went mega viral.
Yeah.
Yes, shout out Jesse for getting that viral moment on there for Mr. Met because that wound up doing fucking numbers this weekend.
Oh, I cackled when I saw it. And shout out to the guy that's wearing the Mr. Met costume. We went out with them when we used to work with the team out in Port St. Lucie one night. Nice people, really great people.
Great guys.
Glad to see you didn't get hurt because honestly, that was a vicious fall off the stage.
Yeah, and a nice little get up and like keep moving after that. And also, Mr. Met wearing like the millennial suspenders was killing me. That was such a nice touch. Good job on that one for the Mets.
But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening, watching this episode of the Mets'd Up Podcast. We'll have an MLB Draft review recap coming out later this week. What was the other episode we were going to do this week? We had our third one?
Full MLB Draft Recap. We're going to go through every single pick, get some data, figure that out, and then we're going to do just a full second half preview. We're going to go through position by position, guy by guy. We're going to make our predictions. We're going to make some trade deadline stuff in there. We're going to talk about the prospects we think are going to debut and how they think they're going to play. But those will be the two other episodes you guys get before Friday.
So make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, Mets'd Up Podcast. Make sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. If you want to listen to us, download, subscribe, follow us over on there. If you want to follow James, you can follow him at
James Chiano.
And I'm Draftnik Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening, watching. We will catch you all on the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.